Hey, this is Jesus Castelló from RubyGuides.com with another Advent of Code challenge. And this day 2 from the 2017 challenges. And for the challenge, what we are asked to do is to calculate a checksum for a spreadsheet. So in this case, the given spreadsheet looks like this. We have 3 rows of numbers, and we're given some rules and some examples. So to calculate this checksum, what we need to do is to find the difference between the largest value in a row. For each row, determine the difference between the largest value and the smallest value. And the checksum will be the sum, the total of all of these differences. So what that means is this. We take one row for each row. We find the smallest number, so for example 1 in this case, and the highest number, so that will be 9. And what's the difference? The difference is just subtracting one from the other. So in other words, 9 minus 1. It's just a simple operation. So this will come in as a string. This is not an array of numbers, as you can see. We can imagine this is coming from our user of this program. It will come as a string. It looks like that. Then our first step will be to convert that into an array of numbers. So we can start there. So to convert this into an array of numbers, let's just do one row. This is what I like to do. Some people get confused because they want to do everything at the same time. So you need to break this down into small steps. So if this is the whole spreadsheet, what's smaller than this? Well, smaller than this is the rows. In fact, as per the description, we need to work with rows, right? So we need to find out how we can solve the problem for one row. And then once we know how to solve one row, we can do all of the rows because it's the same solution for every row. Hope that makes sense. So let's start with row number 1. So this is a row. And what we want is to be able to work with these numbers. And the easiest way to do that is to convert this row, this string, into an array of integers. So that's pretty simple. We can do row.split. And we can see that the output is an array of strings 5195. But we want integers. Why? Because we're going to do mathematical operations. And to do mathematical operations, you need actual numbers, not strings. Because strings don't understand math, right? So what can we do? Well, since we want to change all of the elements of our array, we can use an enumerable method. More specifically, we want to use the map method. So map allows you to apply some change on every element. And that's exactly what we want to do. We want to convert the strings into integers. So let's do that. And the operation we're going to apply is one method. And that method is toI. this method. So this is equivalent to going over every element. So the 5. So it's like if we did this, it's the same thing, but less work because we don't have to do that by hand. All of that is happening here thanks to the map method. So now if I run this code, I run this code again, you can see that now we have what we want, an array of digits, an array of integers. So we can do math. Because remember to calculate the checksum, we need to find the difference. So now the next step is to find the largest value and the smallest value. So that's really easy thanks to another 2 methods. So let me do the following. First row, because map does not change your original, so we need to save it somewhere. Now that we have this, we can find the smallest, so let's call it min for minimal. First row min, and then we can do max, first row max, and that gives us the minimum, which is 1 in this case, and the maximum, which is 9. So that's easy, and we can see these numbers. There you go, 1 and 9. So now what's the next step? Well, it's very easy. It's max minus minimum, maximum minus minimum. That gives us the, so you can see, first row largest and smallest values are 9 and 1. This right from the example. Always use, if you have examples, you always want to buy the examples first. Then you can, after your solution matches the examples, in this case 8, you can see 8, 8. Then you can add more examples, your own examples if you want. But if you're given examples, always use the examples first. Okay? So, second row, largest and smallest values are 7 and 3, right? 7 and 3. The difference is 4. The first row difference is 6. So now we have the solution for one row. So what we can do, we can put this into a method. So checksum row, or row checksum. Row doesn't matter that much, the order. Then this will be given a row. It will return the checksum for that row. And given that we have this, then the only thing we have to do next is to call that method for each row. So let's do spread shed, and then I'm going to use this fancy thing, and this allows me to have the data like that, just like it is in the example. This is just a string, fancy string, so don't worry too much about that. As you can see, that's what that is. Oops. Okay. So next, we take the spreadsheet, we break it into rows, and call row checksum for each row. So let's do that. Spreadsheet lines that work almost. How about the spreadsheet split? There we go. And then we can do the following, which is inject, because I want a total. Inject is good when you want to sum up or add up some values. What values are we adding? Well, the checksums. Why? Because that's what the exercise, the challenge is asking for. It's asking for the sum of all these checksums. So the sum of every row checksum. That's why I'm using inject. And 0 is just the starting value. Alternatively, you can use a counter like sum equals 0 and then add to this counter. But if you can use inject, you will end up with more idiomatic Ruby code, a more clean code. So that's good to understand what's happening here. So we need inside our block this sum, which will be the value of the total. We can name this total if you want, it doesn't matter. I like sum for this example. Then our actual row, so row, and the rows will be this. So now we can call row checksum with a row, and we shall get a result, which is 6. Why 6? Because I forgot to add the total to the results from the row to the total. So that's how you do that. And if this is correct, we shall get this output. We shall get 18, as you can see there. So let's see what happens. Ta-da! It's 18. So that means that we probably got this right. So that's the exercise. As you can see, very simple exercise. And I hope you give it a try so you can practice your Ruby skills. And I hope you found this video useful so you can see how to work through these kind of problems step by step. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to visit my website rubyguides.com, where you will find lots of free Ruby tutorials, and you can also sign up to my newsletter so you can be notified when new content is available for you. Thanks a lot for watching. I appreciate your time. See you in another video.